What's up? It's your boy Mudlup. Oh, I'm sorry. That's not my intro now, is it? Hello, fellow YouTubers, and today we're tackling the issue of which generation has the best legendaries. Before I get started, last week's rankings should be on the screen. If the generation has a letter next to it, they're pretty much out. So I'm using the Bulbapedia list for legendaries. I'm ignoring any that haven't come out yet, which leaves Generation 6 with only 3 legendaries, while Generation 4 has 14. Sadly for Generation 4, it's quality over quantity. To achieve this, I gave each legendary a score of 1 to 10, and I found the average for each generation. For the worst generation, I have some bad news for Generation 4. 14 legendaries, and the best I can give any of them is a 7. Maybe that's why they averaged 4.357. Or maybe it's Regigigas, otherwise known as the worst Pokemon ever. Keep in mind that 5 in one of these would be considered average, so the average of 4.357 is really pathetic. It's a shame because Gen 4 needed a big week to secure the number 1 spot, but instead it had a horrific week, really. The 5th place spot goes to another generation that introduced a lot of legends for no reason. 5th Gen, adding in 13 legends, but they only average 5.23, which, yeah, is actually almost a whole point higher than Generation 4, but they also don't have a Regigigas to pull them down. None of the trios do anything at all to me. There's like 2, 3 of them. They're boring and look like copies of each other, which is like the worst thing a trio can do to me, at least. Maybe they're good for competitive, but I don't know, and frankly, I don't care. Very weak generation for legends. Anyway, the next best generation is surprisingly the next highest number of legends in a generation. Gen 3, of course. 10 of them added, averaging 5.4 points a legend. This generation has a very weak Regi trio, and it gets saved by the Weather trio, really. Kyogre is pretty cool, Groudon is awesome, and Rayquaza is just as awesome in my opinion. Deoxys is decent, they're not great, but the remainders do okay. And then I have Generation 6, and I'm sure this is just because there's only 3 of them. I averaged it out, and Gen 6 got 5.66 repeating. And that's just because Yveltal looks pretty cool. Xerneas and Zygarde don't excite me, but they're unique looking, at the least, so they do what they need to do. Generation 2 also averaged 5.66 repeating, but there's 6 legends in Gen 2 versus 3 in Gen 6, which shows they're better on average. Ho-Oh is a majestic design, and Lugia looks pretty good too. Suicune, I like Suicune. They're all decent aside from Raikou. In my opinion, he's just pathetic. Sorry to be so quick, I didn't have much to say for those gens, but that's because it would really be repetitive. Obviously, number 1 is Gen 1, with only 5 legends, and they are all classics. I guess that comes with being around for so long. The worst, in my opinion, is Zapdos, but his 5 doesn't hurt too much, being as the average is 7.8. Articuno is the coolest legend ever, just saying. Then Mewtwo and Mew. I think if you break the math down, everyone would agree that the original legends were the best. Sorry to all other generations, but it's just so hard to beat Mewtwo. So with only 2 weeks left of the series, and only being able to go up 5 points a week, 10 points is the limit for how much you can chip off to take first place. Meaning Gen 3, Gen 5, and Gen 6 physically cannot take first place. That only leaves Gen 1, 2, and 4 to win it all. Join us next week to hear me discuss which generation is the best Elite Four and Champion. If you've enjoyed, leave me a like to prove it, also a comment, because I want to know which generation you think has the best legendaries. And peace out, Skillets.